What's up, y'all? This is PJ Morton, and you're checking out my guy, David Duane.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning back into On Air with your one and only rock center, Mike David Duane, and the place to be. Yes, right now we've got our boy back with us, R&B and soul recording artist, PJ Morton. And now, if you guys don't know, his brand new album, Gumbo, is out. iTunes, Amazon, it's available everywhere, and he's joined back with us. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. Not too much. Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So glad to, have you back. Thanks for coming back on the show with us today.
My pleasure, man. I'm happy to be here.
So the brand new album, Gumbo, is out. Congratulations, because this album is doing good so far. The fans are loving it. How are you feeling about the response so far?
Man, I'm feeling a bunch of love, man. I'm just, it's always weird when you've been listening to music for months and then it's finally time to put it to other people and let them judge it, But it's been a whole bunch of love, man, so I couldn't be happier. I really made this album for my fans, the ones that have been rocking with me for a long time, and I couldn't have asked for a better response.
And now, let's talk about the concept for this album, because, the last album was so great. Still love that album and listen to it. How did you get the concept for this project? Because this is a really, this is a different project, but it's still true to your sound as an artist.
Right. Well, I just moved back to New Orleans a year and a half ago, and I think that has a lot to do with how I went back to my roots on this album. And the other thing is, I really wanted to challenge myself to write about more than love. My past works, I focused a lot on love and relationships, and I love love, but I just felt like the world was going through too much right now to only just talk about that and happy love songs and stuff. So I wanted to deal with the climate of the world, and that went from creative freedom and claustrophobic to racial tension, where everything's going to be all right, to sticking to being yourself or sticking to my guns, and religion, talking about God getting blamed for a lot of things. So to me, it's the first album I made in New Orleans, and it's got all this diverse subject matter. That sounded like Gumbo to me. So that was the concept.
Definitely, and I love the concept because I feel like it definitely goes very perfect with like the different subject matters that you talk about. Because, like you said, it's a different project, and you talk about you're really expanding, not just talking about loves like that. And that's great to have those songs like that. But this project is very diverse for you to touch on different subjects and be more broaden your horizon. Was it kind of difficult to kind of like not write a song about write an album that has songs about just straight love and the happy feel good?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm used to. That's why I said it was a challenge, because also it's very hard to write songs with messages, without becoming preachy or like corny, you know what I'm saying? So it's not easy. I think the reason love songs are popular is because they're easier. It's like I could write about that all day because that comes easy to me. But when it's really down to say time to say something, it becomes a little more difficult. And so I just really had to, put my head down and get to it. But it definitely was a sort of a challenge because I'm so used to talking about love.
And I gotta say, from the project, I love Sticking to My Gun. Love that single. Tell everybody about that one, just in case they haven't got the album yet.
Well, Sticking to My Guns is basically a declaration, It's like I wrote it at a point where I was starting, because this album is a lot about self-doubt and really getting back to myself, people trying to knock me off of my thing and who I am. So Sticking to My Guns is a declaration that, you almost got me, I almost forgot who I was, but I'm deciding to stick to my guns and be who I'm going to be. And because I feel like I was created to be that way.
And I love the message with that because, everybody has to be in that mind state at least one time and place in their life to, be like, stick to true to they are. Because nowadays, we've got people pressuring people to be, different religions, different sexualities, just doing all types of wild stuff that's not true to themselves. So hearing a record like this it's a real reality record, and it's definitely like a testimony because, people really got to stick to their guns.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's easy to be, lured to other things, that aren't yourself. But ultimately, I think it's important to just be who you are, whatever that is, just stick to that because you were created to be that way.
Exactly. And now, since I mentioned religion, we might as well talk about that record since I kind of segued into it. What was the process like writing that record?
Well, it's funny. Sometimes I'll write myself notes. When President Trump was, campaigning, I noticed that like the church, or the evangelical side of the church, publicly, endorsed him, and that was really confusing to me because I'm like, man, he's saying some crazy stuff and y'all are okay with like getting behind that, that's what represents you. So that really confused me. I'm like, man, there's got to be some other reasons for them wanting him to be president, because it certainly is not based on their faith, because it doesn't seem like he lines up with what they believe. So I wrote these notes in my phone and it just said religion, good intention, only human. And that was the beginning of that song. I went back to that note that I had in my phone and really just started to write out my thoughts, and realized that, we blame so much on God, and like, oh yeah, I'm doing this in the name of God. I talk about 9/11 too, it's like people said they ran into those buildings, they flew into those buildings in the name of God, in the name of Allah. But I feel like God had nothing to do with that stuff. I feel like that is a personal thing that you have, maybe some thoughts and beliefs that have been passed down through generations that may be religious, but don't have anything to do with God, So, that was, I guess that was a thought that I always wanted to get out, but I finally was able to say it the way I wanted to say it.
And I feel like it was definitely conveyed the right way. I definitely feel like you mastered that. And I feel like a lot of people really like that record because I've been going on Twitter and stuff like that, seeing what records, I should ask you about. And that seems definitely like one of the top favorites.
Yeah. No, that one's been getting a lot of love. I guess a lot of people can relate.
Definitely. So now you worked with you had a collaboration with the Hamiltones and BJ the Chicago Kid. What was it like, being able to work with, those soulful guys just as, you're soulful? Because, that had to be crazy, like, to get all y'all together.
Yeah, well, I wish we could have, but we didn't cut it all in the studio together. But for me, when I started writing Everything's Gonna Be All Right, I knew that we were like basically taking it straight to church, and all of us, me, BJ, the Hamiltones, we all church boys who decided to do soul R&B music, So I just wanted to take it all the way there, and I knew they would get it because we come from that same cloth, and they did exactly what I thought they would do, and it just it's a super feel good record.
Now, are you looking forward to, getting, out on the road with this new music? Because I know you got Essence and you got a couple of dates. How are you feeling about, bringing this new music, to the live stage?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's my favorite thing to do after the record is done, is to get it straight to the people and get that instant gratification from it, because my shows are really big about, a give and take of energy there. So the way people are feeling this album, I can't wait to get out there and play this stuff live. I feel like it's going to be crazy. So I can't wait. I'm itching to play this stuff live.
That's amazing. And you're doing Essence this year, right?
Yeah, I'm doing Jazz Fest here coming up, and doing Essence Fest, which is huge for me to be in all that good company. Yeah, it's gonna go down, man. In New Orleans, my hometown too. My first time living home where I'm performing at Essence, so it's gonna be special.
Wow, that's gonna be dope. I'm gonna be there. So I'm looking forward to it because I've not seen you perform live, not even with the guys, not by yourself. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you perform live.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a good time, man. You're gonna have a good time.
Most definitely. So how's like the preparation? With like getting ready for like your own live show versus, doing a live show with the guys? Like, what would you say is different and the same? That's a question somebody wanted me to ask you.
Well, something that's different with this album is, I play all the keyboards on my album. So all of these different keyboard sounds that I did in the studio, I can't do with just my hands. So it's bringing in somebody to try to nail these sounds and really get the sonics of the album right.
Right.
And be able to present that, and how we bring even more, because I like to take it to the next level with energy live. So how we make the transitions from one song to the other, because, my album flows just like my live show does, in the sense of I like for it to transition seamlessly. So it's just a matter of figuring out what songs go together, old and new, because I'll be mixing Gumbo with on my old catalog as well. So we trying to see which old songs mix with the new songs and how we can get from one to the other. But I love it. I mean, I love that part of the process. And then, then we give it to the people. But that's basically the process, is trying to figure out how to transcribe it from me doing all this stuff by myself in the studio to separated it to my musicians and how we bring it across.
Right. And do you find that sometimes a little challenging, or you're really able to be like, okay, cool, do it like this because this is how I envisioned it? Could that be difficult, or you kind of master it?
Well, being a musician, I think it makes it easier. I'm not an artist that's just an artist, a singer.
Right.
I'm a musician, so I'm able to speak that same language. I think the only challenge this time is I used more keyboard. In the past, a lot of that stuff we would go in the studio and all play together. And this time I layered a lot more keyboard stuff. So that's the only challenge, is trying to get these specific sounds and stuff. But in general, I also live. You don't have to do it exactly like me. I like for you to bring your personality and your sound to it. When the people in my band, I trust them, so I want them to add their touch to it while still staying true to the record. So, it's a small challenge, but small being the key word, it's something we usually figure out pretty quickly.
So now, what would you say are your favorite records from this album?
Wow. I purposely did a short album, because I think sometimes people get a lot of songs and they listen to them, but they don't all the way listen to them. They pick out a few. I wanted this to be an album where everybody listened to all the songs and really liked all the songs. Much like Thriller, you know what I'm saying, is 9 songs. Purple Rain is 9 songs. Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions is 9 songs. So I feel like I'm in good company with the short album. But my favorite song changes just about every day. It depends on my mood, and what I'm wanting to feel like. But sticking to my guns always feels good to me. I love Religion just because I never made a song like that, really, that's speaking directly to that. And Claustrophobic is just my anthem, for the dreamers, and for being yourself. So those 3 consistently always are some favorites.
And let's talk about Claustrophobic, because that's the leading single from the album. Love that single. What was it like recording that single and being able to write such a strong message? I mean, this album has nothing but strong messages, but that has a serious strong message with that record.
Yeah, it wasn't really a single. It's kind of just the first statement that I wanted to make. So I put it out there first. I actually didn't really pick an official single to the album, but I wanted to put that out first because I wanted people to know what my mindset was, coming into this album. But Claustrophobic is a song that I wrote probably about 3 years ago, and there was an earlier version of it that I put out. But I wrote it about 3 years ago, and it was after having some meetings in California when I was living there. And seeing, how people really wanted me to be something else, and, so I feel like that's the most direct song I've ever wrote. Like speaking from this is PJ talking, this is somebody talking directly to me. It just came naturally because those are things that I really felt and really was going through. And, I've seen so many dreamers and so many creatives, and not even just creatives, just in the world, just entrepreneurs, with people thinking their ideas are too big, or thinking their dreams are too big, and their business ideas are too big, and not wanting to be in that box. But when you think of the Walt Disneys and the Steve Jobs, they were claustrophobic. They didn't want to fit into any box. They wanted to create something new.
Yeah, they definitely didn't. That's amazing.
So that was my thought. That was my thought process in writing that. I was thinking of those guys and how that related to the world.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a great approach with this record, because I feel like it's strong felt. Like I said, there's not a lot of people that are writing strong felt records and messages like this. So you really hit on the nose with this one.
Thank you, man.
Now, last record I got to ask you about. Let's go through your phone.
Right.
love the concept. Love that song. Just, being able to talk about that, subject matter right there. How important was that to discuss?
I mean, I just think that's current events. Like I said, I wanted this album to reflect life as we are right now. And that's just, I've had so many friends, men and women, get hurt by that, hurt by going and looking for something that they didn't need to look at. And then, sometimes it was taken out of context. And it was just something that they didn't need to see. It wouldn't have changed their lives. It wouldn't have changed their relationships had they not seen it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the love was still there. But then that's because a lot of them stay together after that. But then there's that blemish there, of something that could have just been avoided if they had to mind their own personal space, you know what I'm saying? Mind their own personal business. So I just felt like that was a hot topic that the world has been dealing with, in this digital age that we live in. And I feel like, I hit it. I feel like I hit that on the nose. People are saying thank you. People are saying, man, you should have wrote this a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have went through it. But yeah. It's funny to me. I mean, cause it's kind of a comedic aspect to it. But it's so real though, at the same time.
No, it definitely is. Cause I literally just went through a horrible breakup that don't make any damn sense. Yeah. And I had went back to the person, or it's weird. It's like they say that they didn't go back to me or whatever, but basically went back to that person. But previously, I went through their Apple Watch and I seen all these messages and exclusive pictures. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can relate to that record so much. I was just like, okay, here goes my life right now. This is totally mood. This is the mood right now.
Yeah, too real.
So I definitely felt that record. I feel like a lot of people, can feel this record. If y'all don't have the record, Gumbo by PJ Morton, you need to download it now because this is a relatable project. We don't have a lot of projects that are, very conceptualized in R&B and soul right now. And I think, you definitely mastered it with this project.
Thank you so much, man. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
So I know that you've got Essence coming up. You got the Jazz Festival in New Orleans. You're getting ready to do some more live shows. What else do you have going on?
Yeah, we're gonna be announcing the summer tour pretty soon here. But I'm definitely gonna do a U.S. tour. Well, we got some Australia stuff in the summer. Ooh. That's coming, and some European stuff. But we're also gonna tour the U.S. Between June and August. We'll be all around the U.S. So yeah, I can't wait to announce, and I can't wait for people to show up, and we have a party.
It's definitely a party. You know what? I lied. I did lie. I did see you perform live. Your show with Aaron came from Philly. I did, and you killed it.
Oh, wow.
You did kill it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I almost forgot.
I'm coming to Philly May 8th for like a small acoustic thing with Kendrick Family Soul.
Ooh.
We just announced that. So, yeah. So there'll be spot dates here and there until we announce the full tour.
Nice. Listen, I'm going to be at that show and the show for the tour, so expect me there.
No doubt.
Well, thanks so much, PJ. Thanks, definitely appreciate it. Everybody, like I said, get the new album, Gumbo. It's out and in stores, online. Before I have you do a drop, tell everybody where they can, follow you as far as social media is concerned.
I'm at PJ Morton everywhere, PJ Morton. Catch me. I'm out there. Website is pjmortononline.com. And, you can keep up with tour dates and everything there. What's up, y'all? This is PJ Morton, and you're checking out my guy, David Duane.